Next, he develops the idea for the first and by far richest version of Gaston Leroux's novel, The Phantom of the Opera. Chaney pitches the idea to his old buddy at Universal, producer Irving Thalberg. The Phantom of the Opera, which is directed by Rupert Julian, is essentially a simplification of the classic novel. This is in 1925. The film omits the Persian prologue to the novel, which explains how Eric the Phantom gets his hideously scarred face and twisted personality. In the movie, the Phantom, Eric, is obsessed with a young soprano, Christine, played by Mary Philbin. We first see Christine as Marguerite in the opera Faust, being carried away to heaven by an angel. This is before the Phantom escorts her to the cellars. Eric in the movie, the Phantom, is a spectral figure, a type of mad genius. He warns the owners of the opera house to beware, and he always reserves box number 5 for his exclusive use, and no one goes near box number 5. He's sometimes seen there, darkly cloaked, and he refuses to speak to anyone. He watches the opera, then he vanishes. The first half of the film features standard routines of a haunted house thriller. You have creaky threats, warnings, apparitions, disturbances, contrasted to the alarm that's going on backstage. The Phantom remorselessly pursues his goal of having the lovely Christine, his silver-voiced protege, from the chorus replace the reigning diva. Once the diva's resistance crumbles after a chandelier crashes down on the crowded auditorium during a performance, the Phantom, who was then only merely a voice like an angel to Christine, begins to tutor Christine from a secret hiding place behind the walls of her dressing room. Eric summons the breathlessly expectant girl to his presence through a mirror in the wall. At this point, the film lifts itself onto another deeper, majestic, and mythic level. It becomes a type of fable about the underworld. The mirror has, in The Phantom of the Opera, the mirror has the same magical properties as Jean Cocteau's Orpheus, 1949. That's where he gets the. That's where Cocteau gets the idea from the mirror, from the Phantom. Now, the Phantom ushers Christine into the underworld in a series of scenes that make the film's mythic elements explicit. Christine, as I mentioned, walks through the mirror, and Eric, the Phantom, leads her on horseback through the cellars to a black lake 5 levels down. Eric is Charon-like. This is like the river Styx. As he rows Christine across the black lake to his lair by gondola. At this point in time, the film has a strange, dreamlike quality. This journey through the catacombs of Paris. The Phantom's underworld realm is dominated by the massive pipe organ that leads an air of the macabre that's reminiscent of a funeral parlor. Christine soon finds out that the fairy tale-like setting is adjoined to a crypt housing a coffin in which the Phantom sleeps with 2 candles burning at his head. Now, the unmasking of the Phantom. Christine snatches off his mask and recoils in horror in a scene that later versions of the Phantom of the Opera have yet to surpass. This is a great moment of revelation that the other versions of the Phantom of the Opera simply don't shine a candle to. Now, Chaney devises the renowned skeletal grotesquerie for the Phantom's naked face. It's outlandish, it's pulpy, it's marvelous makeup. Now, at the moment of unmasking, Chaney launches a shocking look of unholy revel at the audience. Pain and misery is all that he has left to feel, and he will feel them with glee and delight. There's amazing pathos in Chaney's performance. This is one of his best moments ever. Now, this is matched in the film by the marvelous masked ball sequence when the Phantom makes his majestic entry down the grand staircase of the opera, costumed as the Red Death, then steals away to perch demonically among the statuary of the roof, his cloak billowing wildly in the wind. The Phantom of the Opera is the closest that Chaney ever comes to a conventional love scene. His passion, his pain, competes with the grand spectacle of the sets. And it's a very visually dazzling movie. Now, The Phantom of the Opera was a troubled production. Director Rupert Julian is very, very arrogant and very uncooperative, and he's arguing constantly with Chaney, so much that eventually Julian is replaced by Edward Sedgwick. But Julian gets the credit. Universal has trouble devising a suitable ending for the film. The novel's ending is too downbeat, too somber, and several variations of the ending are filmed, but none of the previews go well. So the movie keeps going back and forth from Hollywood to New York, from New York to Hollywood, from Hollywood to New York, back and forth for editing and supervision. Finally, there's an action sequence that ends the movie, a newly integrated chase scene. A vengeful mob, after invading the cellars, chases Eric to the river. Eric has, of course, been betrayed by Christine. Eric, Chaney, the Phantom, holds off the mob by pretending to carry a bomb in his hand, then displays his open and empty fist, and so wills his own death. The Phantom is literally torn to pieces by the mob and thrown into the river. The ending of the film is good. Chaney delivers an electrifying climax, but the movie is sometimes uneven. But it is charged with vivid, serial-style excitement. This is a great, great movie. Phantom of the Opera is one of the greatest silent films ever made. Chaney, at this point, by 1925, has proven his dramatic magnetism and box office power.